we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say welcome to everybody. Thanks for coming to the seminar. I'm Judy Zewers, Council Chair, and Jennifer, I'm just going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself, and thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Council Chair Judy, for inviting us tonight and putting these monthly learning sessions on. They've been very, very good and helpful. So welcome everyone to the Lions Club's Succession Planning webinar. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, I hope everyone can see the first slide here.
Yep.
So excuse me, I have to stop sharing for one moment. Please give me a minute.
What if I put the dark on? That help?
It's not coming through the TV. You could try it, but
It's coming through the computer only.
let's see.
Well, I'll try just to see.
I could put video on. Should I?
I don't care. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, that's not working.
Okay, I'm back. I apologize for the delay. I had to make sure I had my notes. So I hope everyone can see the slide again. So again, hello and welcome to the Lions Succession Planning webinar for our Multiple District 5M. Thank you all for joining us today. And as any webinar, at the conclusion of it, we will have time for questions and answers, of course. And at any time, you can type any questions into the chat function, and Lion Christine will be monitoring that.
In the bottom, you'll see chat. Bottom row.
Yes, on the bottom row, there's a chat function. If you click
She
on
can hear
that,
you.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I can hear whoever's speaking, and if you can mute yourself, that would be great. If you can't, just maybe don't talk too much. I hope that's okay. I mean, we all can talk, but I'll be kind of leading the session here. But at any time, if anyone has any questions, please interject. I mean, we are not a big group. We can certainly have conversation and work with each other. If anyone has good examples, they can share. So certainly interject if you need to. So this is a webinar that is being held by the Lions Multiple District 5M, of course. We know that. We gleaned content from this webinar that was sponsored by Lions International. And then we actually took that and made a district succession planning webinar from that. And we're hopeful that we can be successful in imparting some of that information here. So we welcome all the Lions here from the whole multiple district. I see a few familiar faces. So that's great. We're all from the entire state of Minnesota and part of Canada. So thanks again for joining tonight. All right, so I am 5M5. I'm from the District 5M5, which is Hennepin County in Minnesota. I am past District Governor Jennifer Gilbert, and I am also the 5M5 Global Leadership Team Coordinator in our district. And so we've had a lot of we've had a lot of opportunities to work on planning and training and succession. So we've been working on this webinar, our district, for a long time. We did it in February for our district, and now we're doing it here. I'm a member of the Minneapolis Ambassador Lions Club, and we are actually an E-Club. So we have some other challenges in succession planning, but we all have them. So we'll just use that information to try to have a good session here today. And I am being joined by Lion Christine, and I'm just going to go ahead and let Christine introduce herself. Go ahead.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm past District Governor Lion Christine, and I used to be with the Brooklyn Center Lioness Club. And then when we became a Lions Club, I dropped out of the Brooklyn Park Lady Lions Club. Also currently the PR chair for the district, very much enjoyed that role. And then I serve as secretary to Lion Jennifer on the GLT team. So as Lion Jennifer stated, I'll be monitoring the chat and we'll share some examples later on. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm very lucky to have such an awesome team. I'm also going to call out Lion Bob. He's also a member of our 5M5 and the multiple district GLT coordinator. So he's very familiar with that. I am going to be, let's see, adjusting the volume or my screen here that I'm reading right now. Okay, so next slide. All right, so our objectives today, our goal today is to provide some helpful information and to discuss some key areas of succession planning. And we all know about the importance of introducing new leadership into our clubs, but we all know that it can be very hard to make change and also to recruit new leaders. We can get very stagnant. We can do the same thing over and over again. But we also know that in order for our Lions organizations to work, it has to start at the club level. Everything we do starts at the club level. And you'll just hear us talking through that in our presentation today. From our member recruitment to our leadership development and all of our service activities, they're all core to Lions clubs. So you'll just hear us talking about it, starting at the club and growing in our club and moving into the district level, and of course, even to the multiple district level. But our clubs are core. That's the core of Lionism. And in order for the international organization to thrive, the structure of Lions clubs also includes zone chairs. We know that, where our zones are grouped, and that includes the zone chairs, and they have a special interest in the clubs that are assigned to them. We know that the club chairs are part of our communication tree, and they're very important. In order to become part of the zone process, that is a natural succession process. Because to become one has to serve as a club president. We all know that. And we also know that past district governors play a role in this training, in mentoring, and of course, serving and training at the next district level. And that is all a part of succession. I kind of want to try to define a little bit of what we mean by succession. It's clubs, it's zones, it's district governors, it's multiple districts. So that's part of the succession. And we know all this, it just doesn't start with randomly selecting leaders. It happens by how we go about doing that. It's a process. We build our pool of talent in your clubs, and it is just an ongoing process. Sometimes you think you've got it right, and then you can, come to a stumbling block, and it's just a process. And then other times it can just keep flowing, and that's great. But again, it's all takes process and it's work. Identifying, mentoring, training, it all goes into those success of our club. We also know how important our Leos are to the growth of Lions. Many of us have Leos and Leos clubs in our entire multiple district. We have many of them. I know we have many in 5M5. We're so fortunate. And so when a person serves as a Leo, they are likely to have a heart of service, and we can capitalize on that, and we can mentor them to move into club leadership and contribute to a club's success. So just another tip to remember, just tackle those Leos when you can, because they're there for a reason. They want to serve, they want to grow, they've already succeeded. They're moving, if they move from Leos to Lions. I'm just so excited when I visit a Lions clubs that sponsors Leos clubs. When you see those Leos volunteering at events, because it instills in those how the clubs manage their operations. Just them seeing, and of course our youth just suck up all of the operations that are happening and everything around them. So this contributes to the succession of Leos into Lions through mentoring, and hopefully they'll stay Lions and lead. So these next couple slides this next slide has a couple quotes here. The function of leadership is to produce more lions, or more leaders, excuse me, Lions leaders, not more followers. So the reality is that we know for any organization to function well, we need leaders and followers. One of the leaders' roles is to identify and mentor new leaders, and that's a part of succession planning. If we have no leaders, we can be a group without a compass, and that can be ineffective. And we know that we need to develop our leaders.
Ryan,
Next
Jennifer,
one. Yes.
could I just have everyone please mute their microphone? We're getting a lot of feedback. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Lion Christine. Good tip. So before the next one is, before you're a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. So I often also think about another quote that I've learned in life, and that is maybe not a quote, but something I've heard, and that is that you're always either teaching or learning. And that's just something to kind of remember while we're working in our Lions clubs. So we are working with everyone. We are learning a skill that could lead to a committee chair or a president in a club. So just to have that mindset, I mean, even if you think about it when we're driving, you're always thinking about ways to navigate, or if you're at work and you're collaborating. So just always remember that can help in the success of your club too. I think a takeaway is that a good practice is always evaluating your club resources, which of course includes our members. Our members are our greatest resource, and we need to continually be evaluating them, which can serve as leaders, which can serve as followers, which can serve as mentors. So that evaluation piece is always a very good thing to remember. If we don't do that, we're not cultivating our clubs, and when we won't blossom, and we know that clubs can wither, and we don't want that. So having that mindset that we're always cultivating our clubs and our members is a key part of succession. Okay, so we just finished a US election cycle a few months back, and we know the importance of voting. And we're also in that time of our Lion year that we should start planning for club officer elections. So step one, hold a club election. This can be done electronically or in person. There are many ways to hold a club election. There are free platforms such as SurveyMonkey that can be used to host an online election. There's many ways to do it. And there's also just kind of old-fashioned paper voting. And the reason why I mention that all is because I know there are clubs that get to the point where they know they need to elect more leaders, different leaders, the next cycle of leaders, and their succession of leaders, and they maybe hit a roadblock and they don't remember the importance of voting. Holding an election will give a lot of respect to that process. It'll help set officers up to feel supported, confident, and successful. And I'm just going to take a minute here to call out our district governor-elect here at 5M5, Lion Sarah McPhee. She was instrumental in getting the club, where she and I are in the same club, in getting our club officer elections moving. We had not held them. Our club is only about 15 years old, and so she got those moving, and it really helped give me a lot of encouragement to continue the succession when you do that election process. So again, all of our succession starts at the club level. This is something that comes from our international organization. It trickles down to our multiple districts, our districts, and our clubs. And our clubs is where it all starts for our activities, for our succession, for everything. I personally know how difficult this next point is. Limiting club presidents to repeating terms. I fall in this bad habit. I've served as president many years, and it can be tough. We all think maybe we're doing the right thing, right? Well, maybe we're not. Maybe we think we're helping by continuing as your officer role, well, I've been the secretary for 10 years. I'm just going to continue. We can fall into that habit. It can be easy to just say, well, let's do it the way we did it before. The same person, and that maybe that's not right. And I just want to take this time to remind clubs that there are, and remind us Lions that there are clubs out there that have not had repeating presidents. I was actually shocked when I learned that during my district governor years when I was visiting. I thought, wow, I didn't even know that was possible, because it was very common in my club to have repeating officers. So it was just really neat. And even some of these clubs are small because they work together, and they make it an important piece to find new leaders on a continual basis. They make sure each person in the club has a role. They can serve as president 1 year, and they know that they can, in that next year, they can serve in a new role, such as a committee chair. It's a good habit to kind of fall into. And some clubs have developed a 2-year president role. So in that first year, they can learn about being a president, and that second year, they can start to mentor a replacement. So just having that continual knowledge that we are replacing our officers and our club leaders and our district leaders, it's a mindset, and it really helps. I was never in that, and now I am, and it's helpful, and it's kind of an energizing. So if we continue to recruit and train new leaders, we are actively planning succession. Sometimes it's hard to get our hands around, like, what is succession, right? But it's really kind of a mindset, and always knowing. And I'm encouraged by the mentors that I have had the pleasure and privilege to have in Lions, who are constantly giving me tips and the reassurance to continually recruit new members. I'll call out Lion Jack Hines. He's a past district governor in 5M5, and he always gives me new ideas. I mean, I see him regularly, and he's in his 80s, and he's still giving me ideas. So just always having that mindset, mentoring others, even if they're not looking for leadership opportunities. I get in that I just forget these kind of things, and they're just kind of a good tip. If you're out of town for a meeting, ask a Lion friend to cover for your duties. So, you're going to be out of town you're the secretary, you're going to be out of town in a month. or out on a leave for a few weeks, find a lion buddy friend, encourage them, show them what you do in your role in a couple meetings and how those officer roles work, and just for that exposure to leadership. Some people are just scared to get there. They maybe think they can't. I always have had this, I don't know, just this excitement that you can do it. You really can just step up. But in traveling around the district, I found that there are lions who think, oh, I can't do it, until I encourage them. And I just have seen it over the years. I think about an example of a lion who I have known for over 10 years. And he told me once that he was kind of a shy lion in his club. And he told me once that he never could serve as president. And I just took that opportunity to say, I disagree. You have a lot of charisma. You're a teacher. You naturally can be a leader. I see your leadership qualities. So I just encouraged him. And I'm very proud and happy to say that he has accepted running for, I encouraged him to run for district governor and he will be moving into district governor role in 2028. So I was shocked. I mean, just asking him to serve in those roles and encouraging people really helps. So just some tips to think about succession planning. One of it is just asking. Another idea, a tip. Pardon me, I have a cold. Spring colds are the worst, right? Use a meeting. So encourage your clubs and your districts and clubs in your district to use a meeting to talk about officer roles. So many clubs are very traditional clubs and they want to have a speaker or a topic for a meeting. And sometimes we forget, unless we're on a continual process, to train on leadership. So talk about it. Say, okay, so, I'm president of my club, and I say, Madam Secretary, will you stand up and talk about your responsibilities? Some people who have never served in a leadership of a club level or in a district level for that matter, don't know what goes on. So let's just talk about it in our clubs, and you can use a meeting to do that. Tell the club what is involved, and that might pique their curiosity for lions who have not been involved. So just don't assume that no one wants to lead or be involved. Invite and encourage non-officers to attend district officer training. So even if they're not moving into a district leadership role or a club or district leadership role, invite your whole club to those officer trainings. The 5M5 district has a great in-person officer training every year, and we just encourage everyone in the clubs to attend and learn about officer roles, even if they're not serving as that officer role. I do travel around to a lot of clubs. I have many friends in many clubs, as we all do, and there's a few clubs that I visit regularly, and I just am shocked about how I showed up at a club to talk about, I think it was LCF, and I said, hey, I know Lion Sue, or the secretary, attends officer training every year because she's a great lion, even though she's been a secretary for many times in different cycles. But I said, would you be willing to invite more people? And last year, 5 members from their club showed up. They had their first vice president, and I was shocked. So just encourage everyone to attend the officer training at the district level. And that, of course, is a tip too. If you don't have one, hold one. I was also kind of surprised to learn that some districts don't hold in person. And I know it's difficult. That's the other thing. We're very lucky in 5M5 geographically, we can do that. But if you can't do it in person, do it online. And I think we've all learned how to do that. Also, provide encouragement for clubs to rotate committee chairs. So that's a hard one too, right? And Christina will give an example of that too, but we have to encourage that. yes, you know what you're doing in your committee chair. I've planned the golf tournament, for 10 years. But by encouraging clubs to rotate those committee chairs, it provides exposure, training, and new ideas. We all know this, but it's just kind of good to hear. And that leads, of course, into officer succession and committee chair succession. Succession is not just about the officers. It's about every part of the club, even to anyone who plans the food selection. Keep it current and change it up. I know that's difficult. I'm definitely a creature of habit, so I understand that. By continuing rotating roles brings new ideas and talent to all areas of the role of the club, and that just keeps us fresh. Again, I can't say how many times I shock myself by thinking, okay, I'm just going to do it like I did it last time, and then we bring in a different vendor or program, and a bunch of new people show up, and it's great. So it's just kind of a good tip to remember. So I'm going to actually stop right here and turn the program over to Christine, who will give us a few examples about rotating responsibilities and some challenges that she's encountered in her Lion career. Go ahead, Christine.
Yes, thank you so much, Line Jennifer. So I do have a real life club scenario, unfortunately, to really, really highlight why it's important to have a succession plan. So as a newer Lion, volunteering to help with the fundraiser, we had a member who kind of not only had ownership, but was very protective of information. We had mailing lists for different donors and getting different silent auction items. So there was a whole sheet of all of these past donors. And I had asked for a copy so that I could, share in the work and help send out some letters, and kept getting excuses. Oh, I forgot it. Oh, I'll mail it to you. So this document was very important to her. And then, unfortunately, I hate to even say, she ended up in the hospital. And so it was a real challenge and very unfortunate. I had to, find a time to meet up with her daughter to let me into her house so we could find the document. And so I understand that. I mean, I myself am an event planner, so I get it when you know all those details, but it really, really showcased that it is so important to have like a binder. After that, we put together a binder for each of our fundraisers so that anyone coming into that role could just step right in, have all the steps needed, all the contacts, all the past donors. So it's just sharing that information. And I know like our Maple Grove Club in our district, different clubs, also have done that for years. They have huge fundraisers. And it's just so important to share the knowledge, to not just have one person be the keeper of the information. I find myself doing that sometimes at my job, and I say it's job security because I'm a fundraiser. But of course, in Lions, we all want to share that knowledge, especially when it might just be one person that's holding all that information. And we hate to think that something's going to happen to someone, but especially as we all age and you never know when something's going to happen, a family emergency. So I hope that, makes sense to everyone to just have that plan, because you just have to plan for the worst, so that there's more than one person that has the information. Another situation, another scenario, we had a fundraiser in my other club for many, 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 many years. And it had always been kind of a ladies who lunch. It was a fun event, but it was never really a fundraiser. So coming in as a new Lion, that was a challenge because things had always been done a certain way. So it was very hard to try not to step on toes, but we ended up moving locations. We moved from a big fancy hotel to a VFW and ended up really making it a fundraiser rather than just an event. So again, having those tools, having a binder for the event, having a committee. And that was another thing with this, moving it from just kind of an event to a fundraiser. We actually formed a committee. And the gals ended up being so happy because it always seemed like it was so and so's event. She kind of always ran the show. And so it was really inspiring to see how excited my fellow club members got when we actually had a committee and everybody had a part in it instead of just like one person running the show. So that again, as Lion Jennifer said, is a way to have succession, because when you have those different positions on a committee, then people move up and can chair a committee. Then maybe they're going to want to take a leadership role in your club. So just that support and inspiring them that they have the skills and the confidence to be a productive member in your club and really set things into action. So I hope those couple of examples that we had in our club help you plan for the future and considering having multiple people involved in your committees and sharing all of your knowledge. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lion Christine. Yeah, we joked in our GLT group that there's the phrase that like I could teach you, but then I'd have to kill you. So you don't want you want to make sure you keep that going, because the holder of one holder of information is not the right thing, and we know that. Of course we do. I just saw a question or a comment in the chat, and I just thought we could maybe address that and open it up, even if we need to or want to. I understand. I know it. Many of you are in our clubs all over the world, probably, where people won't give up roles, and that can be a big challenge. I had mentioned earlier in my talk about how instituting that kind of required or the club maybe you can vote on it in your club that you will be changing presidents or treasurers or secretaries every X number of years. I think 3 is a good number to go with. I didn't want to give up LCIF when I was the LCIF district coordinator. I loved doing it, but I just was probably ready for something new. And I actually have been kind of, I don't want to say against learning the secretary role of my club, but I need to work with my treasurer or my secretary and say, you know what, I think it's time to move on. And if we have the whole club behind us, yeah, it can be challenging, but make it part of the club operations to change regularly, and that'll help, I think. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go down on our new slide here. All right, so another area of succession planning that can encourage us is that Lions International encourages and supports fresh leadership. We don't have to feel alone. We are supported by International. We are supported by our multiple district, where we change and we continually support and grow fresh leadership. As an outgoing officer or club committee chair, it's our roles to identify other club members who will fill those roles, and Lions International supports that. It's also very important because Lions that move through club leadership can offer expertise at the district roles. So I'm not saying that our club gets boring. Our clubs are not, we still love being club members, right? But periodically, it's kind of a fun thing to take on a new challenge in the district level. So the international supports that also. And that can be materialized as a zone chair or a foundation chair. We all know that. All right, so this next slide is a little bit of an eye chart, but it's a valuable tool that assists district governors, and it's called the Club Health Assessment Report. So those of you who have served in district leadership have seen it, and you can kind of focus on that yellow bar. And it's a tool, or it's a resource that Lions International offers or provides our clubs and our leaders. And you can see that section shows clubs that that have a repeating president. So a district officer can view this report and see, oh, how can I help? How can I encourage that change? Maybe you don't know that this club doesn't have changing leaders, and so this tool can help that. District leadership is encouraged to meet with those clubs and see how they can help, develop those leaders. And that happens, of course, in district leadership and governors too. It might seem intimidating or overwhelming, but International provides so much materials and assistance along the way.
Nice.
This slide shows the qualifications for a zone chairperson. I am showing it mainly because that you can see that the Lions only allows zone chairs, if you're not familiar, which probably many of you are, but Lions International allows a zone chair to serve for a maximum time frame of 3 years. And I mean, coming from a district leadership role, we all know who have served in those roles, how difficult it can be to get new leadership into district roles, just like it is in the club roles. And I feel an obligation to us to help our district be successful and help identify leaders within our clubs that can move to the zone chairperson level, that can then perhaps move to district governor level. So this 3-year level is another 3-year term limit that I like to kind of focus on. This is also further supported by Lions International, by the International Association offering district leadership grants. So our district, and probably many around the world, have applied for and received several times. We've received grants to help train club officers and zone chairs. You can offer them a meal, or if you have printing materials that you need the cost for that. Lions International offers those grants that are available.
Cool.
There's just some points on the slide you can read. Has to be completed within that year. Work with your district leadership to apply for those grants, but we're not alone, and there is funding available. So succession planning can be helped in a monetary way, because of course we know everything costs money, right? Another way, furthermore, that Lions Clubs International supports succession planning is through it does not allow or encourage, sometimes it happens, but repeating district governors. So that's just like our clubs. We should not have repeating presidents, right? We shouldn't have repeating, till the end of time. People shouldn't be serving in the same role. So the international organization encourages and supports that. And I think our multiple district does too. I feel like as a district leader, I have been asked to help on the multiple district level, and actually several times, and that really gives me the encouragement to know that it's coming from international, it's coming down to our multiple district level, to our district levels, and our clubs. So knowing that our district governors can't repeat, it just keeps fresh ideas constant. We get that support there too. So we know that we are a very strong multiple district. We have great Lions and great clubs who have stepped up for club leadership and into district and multiple district roles. But we know we need to continue to mentor this. It's an ongoing cycle. I'm probably not telling you anything you don't know, but I think, like I said, it's kind of a mindset. So what's next? This gal's in her chair saying, what's next for me? Where am I going next? And so I was just taking a minute to think about what my next role would be. I'll be going to my 3rd year with GLT, and then what do I want to do next? So and, you know, I know Lion Christine can attest to this also. Getting your lion friends, your mothers-in-law in your club, you can easily mentor with them to show them different roles within your club. So what's next for everyone? Just always kind of think about what's next for us. We want to keep our strong multiple district and our strong clubs. I'm kind of competitive in that way. We always talk about how our districts are the best, right? And our multiple district is the best. Okay, we're going to switch gears to training. Probably many of you know about this, but it's just kind of a good reminder. This slide shows the Lion Portal
Lion
homepage.
Jennifer, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I just had a couple people in the chat wonder if you could enlarge a bit so
Oh.
that they can see more of the slide.
Yes, I'm so sorry, you guys.
Oh, I
Sorry
can
to
see the
interrupt.
slide
I
fine.
couldn't unmute fast enough.
Oh, it's, you know, it's always, I don't even know what I'm what I'm doing here, but it's always oh no, that didn't help either. Okay.
If you go to slideshow, it'll go right from the full screen. If you hit slideshow, go to the
Okay.
beginning, it should take up the whole screen.
Does it, do you see it now?
No,
If
we're
you
just
go
getting
up at the
portions.
top, right,
Oh,
Louise, where
yeah.
it says slideshow, is that where you mean to click up at the top there?
Yeah, if
Oh.
you go to
Oh,
slideshow,
I'm
it might
sorry.
say start from the beginning, and that should take up the whole page,
Up at
usually.
the top banner there.
Yeah,
There you
right,
go.
but yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And
from
then-
beginning, and then pick your slide, and then go to slide 13. So
Okay.
from beginning or from current slide, if you go current slide, it should take up your whole screen.
Okay, I just did select that. Did you see it or no?
No, it's not.
No.
Okay. Well, you know what I'm going to do right now? I am just going to show everyone the Lion Portal. We all know what it looks like, but I'm going to bring that up, and that might make it easier
That
to
sounds
see.
good.
So it's the actual portal and not the
slide.
slide. Right, exactly.
That would be good.
Exactly. So I apologize for that. I should have had that going. All right, so share my screen there. All right. I don't know if that helps a little bit more, but this is the slide, the screen, home screen for, thank you, for the Lion Portal. And again, we all have probably seen this, but I think a good thing to know about is the Learn module, which is right here. So if you click on the Learn module, there's a lot of different resources available. So I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details, but I wanted to show you that where that it's located there. So there's a full course titled Succession Planning Training. In this course, I could maybe query it up here. I'm not going to do that on the fly right now, but if you type in succession planning, there's a whole course, and it is best shown in person. So I encourage that you show it in person in in your club setting. There is the course has two modules. It is self-directed, and you can review the modules at your own pace. They give you a lot of different examples, and I think if I bring up the oh, I guess I can't do that. But in this course, it takes about 30 minutes, so it can be done at a club meeting, no problem. The two modules are identify potential leaders and plan leadership development. That's the first one. So we actually did it at our district level too, and it's just really a nice module to go through with your clubs and your lions. And then the second module is called Plan and Prepare for Successful Leadership Transition. So first you identify them and plan that leadership development, and then you have to go through the transition. I'm going to stop sharing that only because I have to look for my next slide with my notes here. All right, so share screen. All right, so this is the slide, and it talks about the succession planning training. And here are two pictures of the modules, the overviews of the leaders and planning the leadership development, and then implementing the successful leadership transition. Those are the two modules. All right, so this slide just talks about succession planning, and it's the process of identifying and preparing new leaders to replace current leaders. It's kind of obvious, but when their term is complete, you'll have someone to step in the role. And again, I just wanted to say that, I've seen it happen. I don't want to sound like a cheerleader, but I was a little bit discouraged before I started visiting clubs, and seeing clubs operate in a succession planning process where they are always bringing in new leaders and mentoring. It works, and I have to be. It's a success story, and so I think I just want to impart that excitement for that. Right. One more slide about leveraging leadership opportunities and how to bring succession planning into your clubs and your districts, is assistance from our past district governors. I know I've said that quite a bit, but it's just a nice thing to remember in our district. Sometimes you think, oh, they're bygone, but they're full of great knowledge. I know so many of them, and we probably all do, that they just have a knowledge bank, and you develop that when you're learning to become a district leader. They help encourage the development of officers. They help give you tips on how to development. They can help mentor. You can just call them up and assign them. Oh, can you work with this person? They might have some they're scared maybe to talk. They can just, here are some tips on how to do that. They can help take part in that succession planning. You can tap those past district governors and say, will you talk about this piece of the succession planning? Get to know who can talk about that, and those past district governors will be very happy to step up for that. They can talk about the district goals and the district and club goals that will always include succession planning. They can talk about conflict resolutions. That always can be a hard part. How do we get people to step down? How do we get people to transfer information? Those past district governors can help with that. They can be a guiding lion, and they can help in all the roles in the district. So don't forget to call them. There's so many of us out there who can help. I find myself sometimes spending way too much, as we all do, time responding to Lions inquiries on how to improve something, or what's your experience, and you kind of talk through it. So I hope this session has been a little bit helpful. I'm not an expert, but we felt like we were able to, like I said, glean from the international presentation on succession planning, some ideas on how you can hold an election, make value to your club by creating the documents, binders, online tools for creating places where you can store resources for your projects. Don't just say, oh, figure it out. Set up your club officers and committee chairs to be successful by implementing those type of things. Resources by speaking with your district leadership team, your past district governors, going to the Learn portal and finding the succession planning training that is offered there. So we just tried to replicate what the international has done. We did in our district, and I think it's been pretty successful. I feel like especially the 3-year zone chair limit, That's been really successful in our district, and I hope it can be in all of our districts around the world. So I know Christine has helped by monitoring the chat. It looks like there's a lot a lot of comments going back and forth. I have not looked at it. So at this point, I kind of want to open it up. If you have a question, maybe, yeah, Lion Bob, you have your hand up. Do you want to ask a question or comment?
Actually, a very nice presentation, Lion Jennifer and Lion
Thank you.
Christine. Thank you very much for it. One of the things that we kicked around, and you both of you spoke to it, and actually spoke to it more than once, is how do we get members who have been long-term holders of a particular position to step away? And that's a very, very touchy kind of thing to try to do. We don't have a really good way to do that. We don't have a really good, delicate way to do that, other than maybe suggesting that they could work with somebody for a little while. But also, I think one of the other things we have to think about is when we have those very, very, very long time members who are in a position, whether it's, as the club president or a secretary or treasurer, and especially committee chairs, because I don't think we think of committee chairs as being leaders, but they are. What effect can they have on membership? And the reason I bring that up is because we had a person who was outside of our district coming into our district and looking for a club to join. And this person went to a club and they did the right thing. They actually asked him what his interests were, what he liked to do. And he said, well, I really like to do the pancake breakfast. So if I could help on that, that'd be great. And the chair of the pancake breakfast, who had been a very long time chair, said, I'm the chair. I have been for a long time. We know what we're doing. We've got this covered, and we really don't need any extra help.
Oh.
And didn't say it in a nice way. And the person obviously left that club and didn't join it. So, we have to look at not only the effect of having long-term people in our club serving in the positions very long-term, and how that can hurt the club, but we also have to think about it in terms of how can it affect the club in terms of membership.
Mhm.
Yes, you're totally right, Lion Bob. Membership, and of course, it's going to trickle down to our service activities too. If we don't have good leaders, if we don't have continuity and harmony in our club and our leadership, we could lose or we could fail in our service activities, and that's why we're here, right? So it affects leadership, membership, and service, the GAT and extension. We can't form new clubs if we don't have good leaders in our current clubs. Okay, I'm just gonna scroll through the
Sorry, Lion Jennifer. I've been thanking everyone individually for attending.
oh,
so-
thank you. Thank
There's
you,
a
Lion
long
Christine.
scroll.
Lion Bill, did you have something to contribute? Go ahead. Thank you.
Actually, a question. Okay, so you found a member who seems to have leadership abilities, who's smart. People like this person and will follow this person. So you approach them and ask them to run for an office or take on a bigger responsibility, do it incrementally, but they don't want to do it. So, what are the magic words that we need to say to convince them that they are key to what we want to do here?
Yes, that's right, Lion Bill. It is it's a magical process, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I tried to talk. I mean, I'm certainly not an expert, but I kind of tried to talk about that, and we all know this. It's a process, right? And it's just continually asking. I mean, I struggle with it on the district level. There's a few people who as GLT, it's one of my goals to make sure our district has district leadership. And so we work together as our district leadership team to ask and encourage and train and promote Lions to run for district leadership roles. And we all know how difficult that can be. But I think, it's a process, bringing them in, keeping them involved, and kind of wearing them down,
Okay.
As I was saying earlier in the webinar, I have been, I mean, I'm ashamed to say that I have been president of my club for many, many years. And we're an e-club, so we don't even meet in person. We have 105 members and we have about 60 doctors. So they don't even do a lot. So I'm a regular individual Lion contributor. So I do a lot in our club. And I think it's taken me 5 years, and I've been working on a gal who I got her to come to conventions. She wanted to sign up for RLI, but then she didn't want to have to pay for it. But the point is we, um, she's running for president, and I am so proud of myself because, like you said, it's a process. And
Okay.
yeah, so I understand where you're coming from. Just keep the faith. Go ahead, Line Christine.
I just wanted to share, we had in the chat from Lion Barb, she had a really good point that you could say something like, I see that you really have capabilities for this position, right? Like just being a cheerleader. And one thing I forgot when I had a speaking opportunity, when I became district governor, we lost our gambling chair who had been in that role for 35 years. And so to recruit a gambling chair, and I didn't even know what a gambling chair did because I don't come from a gambling club. So I think that's another key part of succession. I talked about binders, but to have like roles like for your club so that when you're trying to recruit people for those positions, like you could have that, role, like the task list almost. Does that make sense? So that you could tell people, because I've had people ask me like, well, what is the time commitment? Or like, what are the expectations? Like what kind of time? Yeah, that was a big one, was time commitment. So maybe, if you put together almost like a sell sheet, right? Like, hey, doesn't this sound like fun? But just one thought that might help with recruiting for those roles is if you kind of have a layout of all the things they could do, make it seem really enticing that, hey, this is something that you'd be willing.
Right. Thanks, Line Christine. Definitely, they're not alone. They can buddy them up with someone. Don't make people feel like they're going to fail. Exactly. Go ahead, Line Bob.
Oh, thank you. No, you could. One of the other things, Lion Bill, is we probably don't need to wear them down until they get sick of us asking and finally just say, fine, I'll do it just to get you off my back. What we really need to do is build them up. And Lion Barb has a thing in the chat that said, you have the capabilities, but then let's go another step. Not only do you have the capabilities, but you know what? If you think that there are other things that you need, for example, there are things like the Emerging Lions Leadership Institute and the Regional Lions Leadership Institute. And in addition to that, there's the club officer training that every district has. And invite every single Lion that might even think they might want to step up to one of the three or all of them, and especially club officer training so that they know what's expected of them, and invite them up. And I think one of the things that we can do, excuse me, that's a really great thing is something that, Lion Barb had in the chat is, build them up, let them know that you see, you see potential there and you think it would be great. And then maybe one of the other things, because Lion Jennifer spoke to it a bit, if they want to do an institute, maybe the club could help them out with the registration. And in addition to that, some of the districts are pretty generous with paying for registrants. So, try to let them know that there's training and they don't have to just try to figure this out on their own.
Yeah, that's a great point, Lion Bob. The training that we all know this, I'm sure, but the training that Lions International provides, I just know for sure at the district leadership level is just dynamite at LCIF. It's all so professional, and we know that. So capitalize on that, use that information. I know it takes time and effort, but I can be a testament that it can work. I'm so proud of the fact that we're going to have some changeover in my club leadership, or the club I'm in, the leadership this time. We're holding a club election at our in-person meeting. We only meet once per year, but I'm really excited about that. So it can happen. We're about at the hour mark. I am extremely grateful for you for spending an hour of our precious time on Holy Thursday. For those of you who recognize that, I know a lot of people couldn't make it because of those commitments, but I thank Council Chair Judy again for inviting us, and all of you for being here tonight. And we can continue the webinar if folks have other
Yeah.
discussion
Excuse me,
points.
Lion Jennifer, I can't
Yes.
see everyone on my screen, so I didn't see this, but in the chat, Lion Jim had his hand up. So if we
Oh,
could
I'm
just,
sorry. Go ahead, Lion Jim.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for a wonderful webinar. That was great. And it seems like we spent a lot of time talking about where we don't offer plans to be successful. And I think we do. And it seems like we spend a lot of time talking about what happened in the past. It didn't work well. And I think we need to spend more time talking about what we have as a plan to move forward to be positive.
Excellent reminder. Thank you for saying that, Lion Jim. It is so true to continually remind ourselves of that. I mean, and I look at clubs and how successful they are when they have a strategy, they have a plan, they're organized, they're proud of their club and their community, and they capitalize on what's working. And we all know that introducing fresh leadership is always so, I mean, I think about our children coming up and our grandchildren, and we just look toward the future, and that helps our clubs just always stay fresh. So thank you for that reminder, Lion Jim.
Thank you.
All right. Does anyone else have any, oh, that's great, Lion Joel. I like that encouragement there. Yeah. Yeah, I just encourage everyone to, oh, Lion Judy, there you are. Hi. I encourage everyone to continue club succession planning, and certainly I can help be a resource if needed. Not that I'm an expert, but thank you again for joining, and enjoy
So,
your evening. Stay
yeah,
dry, everyone.
thank you so much, Jennifer Christine. What a fabulous presentation and a great way to end our webinar series for the year. Thanks so much. Thanks to everybody who attended. This is being recorded, so if people missed it, they can come to the website and take a look. So thanks so much, everyone.
Wow. Have a good night.
Good evening,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
thank you for attending, everyone. Thanks so much. Happy Easter.
Judy,
Right.
is she still there?
Yep. Hello.
I'm just curious, where are you?
I'm at the circus.
I thought you were. It looked like the big tent.
Oh, seriously?
She's
Okay.
doing double duty.
So loud.
Those of you who don't know, there's a circus, not animals, humans, happening right now. Trapeze artists in Bloomington, Minnesota, and we recruited volunteers from all over the district, or the multiple district, to come help sell tickets. It's a fundraiser for our Bloomington Lions, and it's a great event. So thank you, Lion Judy.
Yeah, I did the exit door on Sunday again, and it was amazing. The circus was different, obviously, than 2 years ago, and I just thought it was phenomenal. It was so good.
It's a good family show, yeah. So, but
Yes.
thanks, guys. I hope to see you at the convention coming up.
Yeah, convention
Thank
coming up
you.
in 2 weeks. Bye, everyone, or week and a half. Bye now.